Is Tom Aspinall a quitter? This has been a hot topic of discussion ever since the UFC 321 main event ended in disaster as Ciryl Gane double eye poked Tom Aspinall. Now, Tom Aspinall was not able to continue this fight, saying he couldn't see, and there's been a lot of discourse online saying whether or not he is a quitter, whether or not the fight should have continued, whether or not Tom was losing. There's been a lot of crazy discourse, and now that we're a few days removed from the event and things have settled down a little bit, I'd like to talk about it. Also, yes, new camera angle. I know it looks a little different, but I'm trying it out. Let me know if you prefer this camera angle or the old camera angle. I can always go back. No big deal. Now, first of all, I want to talk about Ciryl Gane's past, because Ciryl Gane has been known as a bit of a cheater. He's been known as a bit of a dirty fighter, from eye pokes to back of the head punches. It seems like in almost every single one of his fights, there's some sort of foul committed, whether caught by the ref or not. Now, do I think Ciryl Gane is a dirty fighter? I think yes. I think based on the evidence and based on his history, he is a dirty fighter. However, I don't necessarily think he's going into fights with the idea of, I'm going to poke you, I'm going to poke you, I'm going to poke you. But I do think his idea is that he might leave his hands outstretched, and if you happen to collide with his fingers, oh well. I do still think that that does make you an inherently dirty fighter, though. Even if your intention isn't necessarily to foul people, if it consistently happens and you make no moves or changes in your game plan to stop it from happening, you might be a little dirty. Now, did Tom Aspinall quit? Technically, yes. I'm trying to stay consistent with that, as I said RDR quit, and I do think Rainier de Ridder quit, but I would argue that anytime you could continue a fight in terms of it's up to you, the ref gives you the decision, the doctor gives you the decision, and you choose not to, even if there is a foul, I would argue that you did technically quit. Now, is the quitting warranted? Absolutely. If you are fouled and you choose not to continue because you don't believe that you'll be able to fight to the best of your ability, I think that's absolutely warranted, and I think a no contest is what should have happened. I've seen some people argue a DQ win for Tom Aspinall, but I just don't know that that's the way anybody wants to see this end, so I'm going to stick with no contest for this one since it was an accidental foul. Now, let's say they had chosen to continue fighting and Tom got eye poked again. Well, maybe you could argue that a DQ win would be awarded, but I don't know. Now, I'm totally open to having my opinion changed, because you could definitely argue that it's not quitting because you were fouled and you chose not to continue. It's not necessarily quitting, but I don't think there's really inherently anything wrong with quitting in the UFC. I mean, you're talking about your health here. Now, in a perfect world, I hope no fighter would ever quit and they would fight through everything as long as they physically can, but I get it. For example, George St. Pierre tapping out to strikes. He was taking a lot of damage. He didn't see a way for him to win, so he tapped out. It's kind of the same thing with tapping out, to a choke. You don't want to go out and be suspended for medical, so you tap out because you don't think you can win. I think that that is a fair thing to do. Is it technically quitting, though? Yeah, technically it is. Now, fouls are a little different because they are illegal strikes, things that actually stop the fight. The doctor comes in and goes, are you okay? Blah, 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 blah. But I would argue that if the doctor says you're okay and you're allowed to continue, that if you choose not to, it is probably quitting. But I would say it's warranted quitting, and I won't hold that against any fighter that ever does that. I won't even hold it against Rainier de Ridder for quitting because he looked awful in that fight. I don't blame him for not wanting to take more punishment. He wasn't going to win that fight. Now, it is not a good look, and the UFC will not be happy about it. Fans will not be happy about it. But I don't think it's necessarily like, oh, the end of the world, like he's a terrible person, terrible fighter. Like, I get it. I understand wanting to protect yourself. So I'm going to say yes, Tom did quit, but it was warranted because he was fouled, and I don't blame him for that. And I do think Ciryl Gane is a dirty fighter, but I think there's some nuance to that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Feel free to debate or disagree with me. I will be answering and reading every comment I see. Please like and subscribe, and we'll be back to the more normal video essay videos soon. I just wanted to talk about UFC 321 because I feel like there's so much to talk about, and I wanted to give my full thoughts and opinions on the matter. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.